Bullshit.
The No BS Marketing Show is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audible.com/nobs. Over 200,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. It's the No BS Marketing Show. I'm Dave Mastovich. Our guest today is entertainment and hospitality entrepreneur Mark Zini. Mark is the founder of Club Leaf and Bean, a unique approach to a private, members-only cigar and social club. He's started and grown multiple successful businesses and brings a fresh, no BS approach to the entertainment and hospitality industries. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here.
You are the first official guest to be recording in the No BS Massolutions lair.
It's beautiful. I was impressed as soon as I walked in, and you did a heck of a job with this. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And you know about build-outs, which you've already built out one Club Leaf and Bean, and we're going to talk more about that. But before we dig into Club Leaf and Bean, I always like to start off by asking about the guest's career path, their journey.
Yeah. So I've been in the entertainment hospitality scene for the majority of my career. I started so I always, at a young age, had a love for music, and also became a little bit of a growing up in the late 90s, kind of got a computer young and started getting into the tech scene a little bit, and fell into the world of DJing. And so at age 13, I actually started DJing little backyard parties, and basically grew that over 18 years to be I'm a very successful entertainment and production company here in Pittsburgh. Zini Productions was my company, and we really focused on the wedding scene, the higher end wedding scene, and we had at our peak we were doing 150 to 200 weddings a year. Tri-state area, but a lot here in the Pittsburgh area. Had a great career, great business, and along the way during the growth of that business I got introduced to the world of cigars, became a cigar smoker, and started kind of coming up with this crazy idea of this club concept, and that, long story short, brings me to where I am today.
Let's go back to the DJ aspect, because two DJs getting together could be dangerous. And we've talked about this before, about how kind of the same situation as you started out DJing for friends and parties and things like that in high school and college. So you got to the point where you had 150 to 200 weddings per year. How many DJs did you have to cover that?
So at my peak, I essentially, we had a team of about 5 full-time Zini Productions DJs, and then I had a handful of subs as well that we would bring in depending on on the events. But 5 in-house, and then worked upwards over the years with another 10, 15 subs a weekend. So.
Mm-hmm. And when you said you did the higher end weddings, are they? What was the size of the weddings typically as far as attendees? Our average wedding, 150 to 200 guests. I saw over the years that a trend in the Pittsburgh wedding market, and this isn't just in Pittsburgh. This is happening everywhere, where the guest size of the weddings were getting smaller, but they were getting more boutique-ish, more intimate, more higher end, so to speak. So what we were seeing was that couples getting married were actually spending more on weddings, but they were keeping them smaller and more intimate, because they realized they could offer a nicer, more intimate, more unique experience to their guests by having less guests and spending the same amount of money but having less guests. So it wasn't so much guest size, it was just more more intimate type weddings. I agree, and it is, I have to say, after having DJ'd for weddings for a good probably almost 20 years, and the size of weddings being anywhere from 250 to 500 people back then, the weddings that I've gone to that are 75 to 85 people are so much more enjoyable, and you're only invited to the ones that you're really close with someone.
So then you let your guard down more, and everybody seems to have more fun. And the DJ at this wedding that I went to for Allie and Millie, two of our key team members, their DJ was really good, and it made a big difference.
I couldn't agree more. You know, when I first got in the business in the late 90s and early 2000s, I mean, it was, like you said, it wasn't uncommon to do 500, 600, 700. I mean, I remember I did a wedding for 2,000 guests at Heinz Field. I mean, you did some of these massive weddings, and then as time goes on, that things, I started to see personally in being a DJ, man, the best weddings are the small intimate ones. My wife and I got married on the beach with 33 people, so that tells you my personal view on it. But yeah, I agree.
So you ended up having 5 full-time DJs, and you were doing 150 to 200 weddings. Did you also do some club stuff during the week?
You know what? I never really, I did when I was, I'm a Duquesne grad. I went to Duquesne here in Pittsburgh, and I did do some club work during that time. Not much. I was never big in the club scene. I was more on the mobile end of things. Weddings and some. We did at a point in my company, we did a decent amount of corporate events too. So we were doing kind of weddings and corporate events, and then I really focused on the wedding industry.
Okay. So what ended up happening? Did you sell the business?
So essentially, what I did is, one of my main guys that worked with me for many years, who a very talented DJ, great guy, great person, and a great friend, essentially took over the business. So we worked a deal out from there. It's the wedding industry is a very personal industry. And it's one of those things that after my 18 years in the business, I started to realize, for me to be where I want to be, I had all these other crazy ideas from stuff. I said, it's time. I've had a great run. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Learn a lot. It's time to let somebody else, take this thing over.
So then you start the ideation of this cool thing. And full disclosure for the audience, I've been a member of Club Leaf and Bean for a while, and it's a great experience. But as I described it, a unique approach to a private members-only cigar and social club. Tell me when you first got that idea. Where were you? What did it hit you? And how long did you ideate to get to where you were ready to put a business plan together?
It's a great question, Dave. I love to answer it. So the idea behind Club Leaf and Bean came from my personal experiences of being self-employed. And I've never been the kind of guy that could work very productively out of my house. I got a beautiful home office. I just, for whatever it is, I have a hard time really being able to focus when I'm in my home office. And at the same time, I was never the Starbucks Panera guy. Nothing against those, but I was not the guy that could go sit at a corner table in Starbucks with my earbuds in and be able to productively work. Being a cigar smoker, that kind of was another element, right? Where a lot of times, a lot of my days, by the time I would finish my day, if I wanted to at night relax with a cigar and maybe a glass of bourbon, there weren't a lot of options as to where I could do that, other than a couple of cigar bars, which wasn't necessarily always the scene you're looking for. So I basically started creating this concept. Really for a lack of not having it for myself, and through those years of being a cigar smoker, meeting and sharing cigars and drinks and stories and business dealings with a lot of others, people, smokers, so to speak. I started kind of formulating this concept, thinking, I'm not the only person that I think would buy into this concept.
So then you get the idea of the concept, and let me give a description of the place, and then you tell me how accurate that description is, and then tell me what led to you getting to this. So I meet Mark through a mutual business associate, someone that we both work with, and I'm told, you need to check out Mark's place. You're from the South Hills. You smoke cigars. This is a great place. And I don't smoke cigars that much, so I'm a great example of someone that you don't have to be a big cigar smoker to like this, because it ties back for me the same thing as you. I can work from my home office probably more than you, but I still don't like it as much as somewhere else. And I also am not the Panera Starbucks guy, although I can pull it off. here in the city, I go to Rock and Joe. So I go to meet with you at the first meeting. I drive up and you said, well, when you get to the gate, just text me. So I text you and there's a gate and you enter something and the gate opens up and I pull up and there's this beautiful building. It's just perfectly placed on like the location where it's elevated a little bit, but not like up on a big hill. And it's big, but not gargantuan. And it's looks like this amazing wood structure, and then has like an outside area, and as soon as you walk up you can already hear the music. As soon as you get out of the car you hear music. You come up and then you use your finger to enter, your finger keypad, and you enter and you walk in, and there's this place that does not smell like cigars. And it has all these different rooms. It has 3 levels, and it has a one area that as soon as you walk in reminds me as if you'd go to the Cafe Leaf and Bean, which is where I'd met your partner, because I had gone there a lot for coffee and sometimes to buy cigars, but a typical cigar place where you'd sit and there's the nice couches and everything. And then you go to another area and there's this big conference room with a whiteboard in it. Then you go to another room that's like kind of like a room that has, and all these places have great music playing. And then you can buy the cigars yourself by texting which cigar you bought. Then you go down to the lower level and it's like almost like a nightclub bar, casual bar type setting where then you can go out on the back and play bocce ball, or you can go up on the top deck. So there's like, I don't even know if it's bocce ball. I don't know anything about bocce. It could be bocce ball. I probably screwed that up. So there you go. That's my rant of what I've experienced. And other than me not knowing the sport, how did that sound?
You want a job? No, I think that was a great explanation. You know, you said a lot of things there that I love hearing, because you know, we're not just a place for cigar enjoyment, and I think a lot of people, when they hear about the concept or hear about, you know, Club Leaf and being a private cigar club, or, you know, we have a name brand recognition here in Pittsburgh in the cigar industry with the Leaf and Bean name, they inherently think of, okay, that's a place where you're just going to go and sit and smoke cigars all day, and, you know, the people that go there, the members that go there, that's what they join for, and it's really not the case. Yes, we're absolutely smoker friendly, and in this day and age, that's a really nice thing to have, because let's call a spade. To find a place that you can enjoy a cigar is becoming increasingly difficult in any capacity, whether it's a cigar shop, a bar, a club, a private club, whatever it may be. So yes, that's what really makes us unique at our core, but we're so much more than that. We're a facility that's very clean, very professional. That allows our members to utilize it in a lot of different ways. So we're about relaxing in nice plush leather with a cigar, but we're also about creating a very friendly work environment, as well as a very friendly, productive, entertaining environment. So as a place that you can bring customers, friends, coworkers, and have effective ways of entertaining, negotiating, just hanging out and relaxing. So we really have tried to create a space that gives our members a lot of flexibility with how they can use it. And I think we've accomplished that.
One of the first things that I noticed is that it does not smell like a cigar shop. And I had one client that they said, I'm not sure I want to come to that. And I said, because they don't like the smell of cigars. And I said, honestly, you're barely going to smell the cigars. Let's just have the meeting there. It's 15 minutes from where you are. It's 15 minutes from, about 20 minutes from my office downtown, but it's close to my house. So talk about that, because I remember when you first explained to me, because when I came in, I said, this doesn't smell like a cigar shop.
Yeah, so that was a big piece of our build out. It was one of the things that when we started construction, I was adamant that we were going to do right. You know, and being a cigar smoker myself, as I've said, I love enjoying a cigar, but I don't want to smell like a cigar, and I don't want to be inundated with cigar smoke. I mean, even avid cigar smokers will tell you that, and it's one of the things that I can tell you, and personally experiencing it, and being in many cigar lounges and bars and clubs around the country and in the world. In my opinion, it's something that very few places do properly. It's tough to do properly, and it's also expensive. So we were adamant that we're going to do this right. So essentially, we invested in the design and the implementation of some pretty high-end equipment where, you know, we're constantly exchanging air. We clean the air 24 hours a day. We exchange all the air in the building. We use an oil burning system where we actually had a custom system built for us that actually breaks down the smell of the cigar smoke. So we actually burn an oil through the building that does that effectively. We have really advanced motion and thermal activated smoke eaters that actually pull present smoke out of the air. So we do a lot to keep the air like that. It's not, I think sometimes after you've been a member for a while, you kind of come in and take it for granted. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes to ensure that environment. It's a difficult thing to do, but again, I think we've done it, and it's something I know our members and their guests appreciate.
The No BS Marketing Show is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audible.com/NoBS. Over 200,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player with Mark Zini, the founder of Club Leaf and Bean. So we talked about how the entrance is and how I had an old college roommate from many moons ago said he was in town in Pittsburgh, wanted to talk to me, and just got a little scared. We're getting to that age where you're like, uh-oh, this could be something. And he just said, hey, is there anywhere private you can go? I said, yeah, let's just go to Club Leaf and Bean. Well, first of all, he was like in awe of the place. And he lives in Vegas, and he comes in and he goes, what? Cool. I can't believe this. And we were there it was a holiday weekend, but it was like December 30th. So there was 0 people there. And like at 10:30 at night, we come up and we walk in, and we're the only 2 people in the place at that particular time. Then 2 or 4 others came in at that time a little bit later. But you could have that private conversation, in-depth conversation about personal stuff. And I have a locker there, so I was able to go give him whatever his drink of choice was within reason. I don't have 27 bottles there, but so you have that aspect. And then you also have the business part that you're talking about. And I wanted to touch on that because I've had some meetings there, and I've also had a couple of, say, one-on-one meetings with clients where we use the conference room and the dry erase board. So just talk about how there's so much more for every one of the members that are there.
Yeah, so from an amenity standpoint, we really bring a lot under one roof. We try to be very business friendly in everything that we do, and so what we've found is that a lot of our members utilize the club a lot from a business standpoint. So, like you mentioned, bringing customers and bringing friends. Again, business friendly, but also personal relaxation, very friendly as well. So we've seen. We have members that it's very unique. We've seen members over the years that have joined the club for both reasons. We have members that primarily use the club for business, entertaining, or productivity, and then we have the other side of we have members that join to say, listen, this is going to be my getaway. When I enter this building, I'm not going to think about work. And then the majority of our members are somewhere in the middle where they kind of use it for a mix of both. So we have a lot of facilities in the club. We have a state-of-the-art boardroom that has dry erase wall, state-of-the-art projection equipment, soundproof walls. We have a business suite upstairs that has business suite amenities, print capability, stuff like that. And then we have on the relaxation side, we have several very nice plush leather lounge areas. We have a what we call our media room with a full video wall. That's a very nice popular space that our members come in to enjoy games, things of that nature. And then we also have entertainment options. You touched on that with the bocce court. So we have a pool table, we have dartboard, we have our most recent addition last year. We built a full regulation bocce court, and then we also have a state-of-the-art indoor golf simulator. So we bring a lot of that under one roof to give our members a lot of options. And how they want to enjoy the space. For example, the golf simulator. Living in southwestern Pennsylvania, there's many months of the year you can't enjoy golf, so you can come to our place, and if you want, light up a cigar, pour a glass of bourbon, or wine, whatever you may like, and hit some balls on play Pebble Beach in the middle of January while it's snowing.
So you got the idea for this amazing place through your own personal experience. And feeling like, hey, I don't want to go necessarily to a Panera or Starbucks, nothing against them, but I'd like to be able to go have a cigar. I'd like to be able to go to an environment that's not like a cigar bar, because I agree with you. I can go to a cigar bar, and there's nothing wrong with it. I can enjoy it, but it's a different atmosphere. It's also going to be a different expense, and it's you have less control over who is there. And if you're truly going just to think and relax, that's not as cool. So you can go here, and you can have the you choose the liquor, you choose whatever you drink, you choose wherever you smoke. So you get that idea. let's walk through what happens next and how you chose where to do it and how to price it and all of that.
Yeah, so it was an interesting story. You know, it was an idea I was kicking around. Started getting very serious about it. Ended up partnering with my business partner, Greg Threlkeld, who started the original Leaf and Bean. Original store. Original was the creator of the Leaf and Bean brand. It was a retail cigar and coffee shop that opened in 1997 here in McMurray, right in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, still in existence today. Greg and I became friends over the years just from me being a customer. At the time I was living, a few miles down the road, and that would be one of my few places that I would be able to go and try to enjoy a cigar, and when I could, and always really liked Greg and his establishment, and again we became close. So this is the concept we started talking about. The two of us got serious about it, and we said, okay, well, I think we have enough of this down or we have the concept to the point where I think let's see if we're not the only crazy ones here, and there's others that will buy into this model, and so we started looking for a space. Now I got to tell you, I've looked for space many times in my life for different things. Looking for space where you can smoke a cigar. That's something that 95% of landlords are gonna they're not even gonna want to call you back. I'll never forget the story. We ended up meeting a gentleman that owned the complex directly next door to where we currently are, and it's an original 1830s farming complex called Quail Acres. It's a beautiful little compound, so to speak. It was built in the 1800s. A lot of really cool history. There's a really nice Italian restaurant there on the property, and attached to that was a carriage house. That carriage house was a very unique space. Didn't have road visibility. A little bit of it kind of sat tucked behind the restaurant. So it was one of those things where for a lot of businesses it wasn't going to work. And a lot of different businesses had been in and out of this place over, I think at that time it had been 4 or 5 years prior to us coming in. Couldn't keep anybody in there. So I saw this. Greg and I were looking for space. This had gotten posted online, and I called him up. Didn't tell him what I was going to use it for. I think I started learning. I said, I can't tell people what we're going to use this for. It's just meet me. So I ended up, I met him at the property, and he was there with his wife, and we toured the property. And at the end, he said, so what exactly do you want to do with this again? You said something in the cigar business. And I told him, I said, yeah. And I kind of started, getting into little of the details without trying to throw everything on him at once. You know how that is.
Yes.
Entrepreneur, you try to control that, right? And I'll never forget. He looks at me and he says, "Well, we've never allowed smoking on our property. I don't think that's something we could do." And in that moment, his wife, she put her hand on his shoulder and said, "Jerry, I think we need to give these guys a chance. This sounds like something we need down here in Washington." And he looked at her and he said, "You know what?" He goes, "If my wife's on board, I'll do it." And long story short, we ended up signing a deal on a lease on this property. And it was a very unique building, again, built in the 1800s, so exposed brick, all this and that. A lot of cool character, but small, very small. But it allowed us to prove our concept. And within a matter of 1 year, we opened, basically we opened this place. And
what year was that that you opened?
So we opened that September of 2013. So it's actually been 5 years. And today, or not today, I mean this coming week will be 5 years, and which is hard to believe.
When you opened, was it in the present form it is now, or did you add on?
So the building we are in now, we built out a year later.
Oh.
So we were next door to where we currently are.
Okay.
So what happened was we grew, and it's like the whole. I mean, it was such a whirlwind. We opened September of 2013 in this carriage house, and we started growing so quickly that Greg and we realized quickly, okay, we're going to need more space, and we really want to take this concept to the next level. We've hit something here. We've really hit something that people are looking for. So we actually purchased the property next door, which is where we currently are. Started an 8-month construction project there, and then almost 1 year later,
we opened up in the new building. So we were at
When-
our
when was
original
that-
space for
when
1
was
year.
that? When was the new building opening?
October of 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, so we went from it was a crazy ride because we went from a small 1,000 leased space in September of 13 to opening a 4,800 square foot building that we owned on 2 acres of land October of 2014. So in basically 11 months, that it was a crazy couple of
So
years.
when
for
you
me.
opened the first place,
Yeah.
did it have the electronic access with the finger pad and everything?
we put all that in. So we actually did 2 significant build outs pretty much within a year and a half. I was through 2 major build outs.
So you put all that in the carriage house.
We put all that in there.
And then who's in the carriage house now?
There's a florist. A little bit of a
They've
change.
got a great way to get in and out.
Yeah, they do. It was one of those things. Again, you're looking at from an entrepreneur. You look at all this money we invested in this space. We're like, wow, we're just going to abandon it. But it was for bigger and better.
Yeah.
We and people thought we were crazy when we purchased the property next door to us, and people started to realize the size and scale that we were going to build. I mean, we were going from essentially what was 1,000 square foot with 2 rooms to a 4,800 square foot freestanding building on 2 acres with all these facilities. People thought we were nuts, and I think you have to be to a point to be an entrepreneur. But we did it, and it was the best thing we ever did.
I am amazed because I just assumed it was always like the other thing, but it makes it even better story. But help me to understand what you did. How did you market it at the beginning? How did you get the word out, and how quickly did you go from member number 1 to say member 100?
Sure. Yeah, Dave, that's what's so, I think, unique about our business. We're providing a product to a discerning clientele that wants a nice, clean space, and to be able to entertain, relax, work, all the things we've talked about. And one of the things that was very important to us from the very beginning was making sure that we